Hello, my name is Katie Driscoll, and I am elated to welcome you to the Widening the Circle Pathways to Friendship Annual Conference. This year, although we gather virtually, it is in the spirit of celebrating connections. Widening the Circle has been focused on building friendships between people with and without disabilities since 2012. These efforts have grown and expanded over the past decade, and people present today and many others have made immeasurable contributions to this project. I would like to thank the ARC of Massachusetts and the Department of Developmental Services for their ongoing collaborative efforts and deep commitment to advance inclusion through personal relationships in the lives of people with disabilities. The Pathways to Friendship team would like to specifically recognize former DDS Commissioner Elin Howe, Deputy Commissioner Larry Tumino, and the Creating Our Commonwealth initiative that sparked greater velocity in building community and connections in DDS services in Massachusetts. We thank members of the Widening the Circle Advisory Committee and the 24 residential pathways providers who have participated formally in the last 5 years, many of which who continued amidst a pandemic and a workforce crisis. Thank you to our partner in research, CEDAR, which is the Center for Developmental Disabilities Evaluation and Research at the Eunice Kennedy Shriver Center at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. Thank you to the self-advocates and families who continue to inform our work and our communities. And all of our mentors and supporters, including Jim Ross, Marion Brennan, and Jack Yates. Now, with much honor, I would like to call upon Leo Sarkissian, Executive Director of the ARC of Massachusetts.
Thank you, Katie, and I want to join Katie in welcoming you all, and as well as thanking, along with her, all the folks that have been so essential, because this is a collaboration, a true collaboration. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to get share the screen with you and spend a couple of minutes sharing. Okay, great. So I can't say enough about the partnership aspect and the collaboration between the Department of Developmental Services, of course, the ARC, and then really over 30 organizations. I didn't do the count yesterday. If I counted, I bet you it's even more than that, but you know, I like to underestimate. So it's so important because really localities is where the work happens, right? It's not in some sphere up in the world. We're trying to help make something happen together and on the ground for individuals. And the project's founded on All Our Lives Matter. DDS recognized, and a lot of us have recognized the inequity faced by and among our constituents. It unfortunately continues, but our work addresses these barriers by advancing social inclusion and friendship. And again, our work together. One of the things that since, because of our focus on social inclusion and friendship or long-lasting relationships, it's good to look at this Harvard study of adult development that started in 1938. They looked at generations of people at Harvard and eventually included women, by the way. At first it was just men. And bottom line of their findings was that most people can increase their happiness just by relationships. And that on average, 50% of people's general level of happiness might be determined by genetics, but a lot more is determined as well through relationships. They keep us happier and healthier. But the other, news is 1 in 5 Americans report being lonely, right? I don't know how you're doing. I don't like the idea of feeling lonely myself. But what do you think about the people we support, or our friends and family members? What do you think that quotient is for them? And then in 1943, Abraham Maslow talked about the needs hierarchy, which also ties in with that study, and almost 100 years ago, right? And look, right after breathing and food, so some basics, and right after safety is love and belonging. These are building blocks, building blocks that shouldn't be determined by our age, our social needs, our strengths, or our weaknesses, or our abilities or disabilities. Relationships don't magically happen. I wish they did. Now, let's face it, a lot of us might have personality where we build relationships, right? And we're working at it, even if we're depressed. But whether you have a disability or not, sometimes it's hard to build relationships. We need support. And support comes through family, friends, and staff. And staff are more important than ever today, not just because of COVID, but also because of the fragmentation sometimes in our communities. And inclusion and friendships are more important than ever. So you're essential. Those of you that are watching this, that are staff, you're very essential, and not just because of COVID, like I said. So together we advance belonging. Here are some of the ways we advance it. And again, together, and hopefully even more so locally, we're going to see it happen as we come out of COVID. Just to give you a picture of that. And here's some reactions. I know Sarah's with us today and she'll talk later, and our Lex Rex friends that Phoebe's worked with, just a lot of positive feedback, not just about the toolkits, but about the support and the consultation. We continue to grow our inclusive opportunities, say the Lex Rex friends. Pathways is such a great resource and it connects us with qualified professionals who are committed to creating inclusive opportunities and friendships for people with and without disabilities. But what Kate doesn't know is she's even more important to us because she's the doorway to the community, right? So we'll keep that in mind. And just to start my closing screens, these are we want to really encourage you to always use these. And I know the team does, but it's there for all of us to take advantage of, for family, friends, and staff. And finally, geez, that sentence keeps popping up. Inclusion and friendship is more important than ever. Let's keep learning, but let's also keep advancing. We are social beings.